Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my guide to Alexander, the Burden of the Father, the final encounter in the first section of the Alexander raid, also known as A4. This guide will cover the normal difficulty of the raid. To unlock this fight, you must first have completed the Arm of the Father and accepted the quest following it. The minimum item level to enter this fight in the Duty Finder is I-170, and it rewards tokens that can be traded in for item level 190 armor and accessories. For a more detailed explanation of the loot system, be sure to check the annotation in the top right of the video. The Burden of the Father has no trash and only consists of a single boss encounter against the Manipulator. This encounter has 3 phases. If you'd like to skip to a specific phase, please use the annotations in the top left hand of the video. At the start of the fight, you'll notice the boss has a right and left foreleg. Determine which foreleg your group wants to focus down for phase 1. Which one you pick is irrelevant, just make sure that everyone is on the same page. Each leg is also omnipositional, meaning that abilities with positional requirements will work on any side. Also, the enmity from each leg is transferred directly to the boss itself, so it doesn't matter which leg the tanks are attacking, whoever generates the highest enmity overall will be considered the main tank on the Manipulator. The boss itself has a lot of damage in this fight. The main tank will take auto attacks from the bits floating above the boss and occasionally be hit by a powerful missile attack that deals damage in a small AoE, so make sure the main tank isn't standing next to anyone. The boss will also use Discoid, which will cause 2 sets of 3 orbs to hover towards a marked player, gradually gaining speed. Each of these orbs deals about 5k AoE damage when they make contact with someone, so either have the tanks absorb them with a cooldown, one at a time, or have each party member attempt to eat one each. Be careful though, when he casts Discoid, he usually follows up with a powerful AoE called Perpetual Ray, noted by a charging animation from the Manipulator's eye, as you can see here. Perpetual Ray targets random party members with an AoE blast of about 5k damage, so eating 2 orbs back to back and getting bad RNG on a Perpetual Ray can very quickly kill someone. Also, anyone killed by Perpetual Ray will give the boss a permanent stacking damage buff, which makes the fight much harder to survive. The best advice is to decide ahead of time which people will eat the orbs, whether it be tanks or DPS, and get a heal on them between each orb that they eat. The boss's next mechanic is Emergency Quarantine. When cast, the boss will send the player with the second highest enmity on the Manipulator and another party member to the quarantine zone, where they must kill a Panzer doll to escape. If the players don't kill the doll fast enough, they will be instantly killed by the quarantine, though the time they give is pretty gracious. Normally, this is the off tank and a random DPS. However, it seems if a DPS is second on aggro, it seems to take a DPS plus a healer instead. Just kill the doll and you will be dropped back at the south end of the arena. On top of these attacks, he shoots AoE circles at the party as well that you just need to dodge. The boss will repeat these mechanics until you kill the first foreleg. When the first foreleg dies, the Manipulator itself will become targetable for a short time. Deal as much damage to it as you can before it disappears. Unlike his legs, the Manipulator is not omnipositional, meaning you do need to attack him from his flank and rear for positionals. Focus targeting the Manipulator at this point can also help you see his cast bar during the next phase. When the Manipulator disappears, he will cast Mortal Revolution for raid-wide damage, and Phase 2 will begin. Phase 2 is very similar to Phase 1, and consists of you killing the other foreleg, which will return at full health. The Manipulator will continue to use Discoid, Perpetual Ray, and Quarantine, but now has 2 new mechanics. The first is Carnage, which will summon 3 Magitech bits around the room. These bits will all target the same player, and after Carnage finishes casting, hit that player with an AoE that deals about 5k damage. You'll want to have 2 players stand between the targeted player and the bits to intercept 2 of the tethers, while the third one you can choose to either intercept or leave on the targeted player. Keep in mind that these tethers are permanently fixated on the targeted player, and if that player moves, they will follow them even if the tether was intercepted. For that reason, it can be best to have the marked player move to the front of the boss and just stand still so people can properly intercept the tethers without error. If you move, you might throw the whole thing off. Experienced groups will probably just wing it. Just try to make sure that one player doesn't get hit by 2 tethers. You really don't want that. The second new ability has the boss summon 3 jagged dolls, not as strong as the ones from floor 2, one in the northwest, one in the northeast, and one to the south. You'll want 3 players, preferably ranged if available, but it doesn't really matter, to peel off of the boss and kill them away from the other dolls and party members. Every few seconds, the dolls emit an AoE that grants everyone it hits a stacking debuff. If anyone's debuff hits 4 stacks, they will explode, die, and kill anyone near them, so just keep them separated and kill them before that happens. Most likely, one of your tanks and DPS will be quarantined when they are summoned, so all the DPS need to be ready to participate in killing the Jagged Dolls. Keep dealing with Carnage, Perpetual Ray, Discoid, Jagged Dolls, and Quarantines until you kill the other 4-leg. Once again, this will make the Manipulator targetable for a short time before he casts Mortal Revolution again. After this, the Manipulator will become targetable again and enter his final phase. The boss's final phase has a lot of damage going out, so everyone should do their best to avoid taking any extra damage, and healers need to be on the ball. The boss will initiate this phase with Carnage 0, which targets random party members with AoEs, so stay spread out when it starts casting. The boss no longer summons Jagged Dolls and no longer quarantines, but instead uses Judgment Nissi. This mechanic will target both of the healers and afflict them with 5 stacks of either Nissi A or Nissi B. This debuff will gradually lose stacks, but starts off dealing high damage over time, slowly dealing less damage as the stacks wear off. On top of that, if any player comes in contact with either healer while they have the debuff, they will get as many stacks of either Nissi A or B as the healer had currently. This will cause them to start taking damage over time and cause more healing to be required, so just don't go near the healers. Also, if the healers touch each other, or basically anyone gets stacks of both Nissi A and B, it will initiate a death sentence and kill them. So just have your healers stay away from each other and everyone else and heal through the damage. Other than Nissi and Carnage 0, this last phase still retains Discoid, Carnage, and Perpetual Ray. Perpetual Ray will no longer hit random players though, and instead will hit the main tank 3 times back to back right after Discoid finishes casting, so have the tanks pop a cooldown after Discoid to reduce the damage. This fight is pretty healer intensive, especially if you're doing it in the Duty Finder, so just take it slow, make sure you're doing all the mechanics properly, and it should be an easy clear. Congratulations, you have just finished the first section of Alexander. For beating the first section, you'll actually get a free accessory token that you can trade in at Idleshire, so if you didn't win anything from A1 or 2, at least you'll get a free accessory here. This is only a one-time bonus though, not a weekly thing. Anyway, thanks for watching this guide. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be something unrelated to Alexander or something to do with Alexander Savage. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time, and until then, take care.